Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. My name is Rabenschild. I did some more work on the vector thrust ship and it is not ready yet. That's something that will never happen with my stuff, but I have moved some things. This thing went a bit more to the front. I changed a bit on the top here to have less particle effects when this thing turns. This is the downwards thruster, the side to side downwards thruster and all that stuff. I've put one more thruster on there. That should be enough. And then I have encased these thrusters and I have moved the plate, the rotor head on these things. I moved the thruster a bit up, but I did it in a way where I landed on the planet, saw that I don't like it, built a small ship to get these things off and then put them back on after I have re-welded the rotor head. It was a bit complicated. In space it would have been a lot easier. In gravity things like that tend to then the whole physics system then glitches out, because a ship that has something strapped below it that has no thrusters on its own, it just sinks because the physics system or the thrusters cannot keep up with the added weight. One thing I have to keep in mind when I build the containers, I'm not sure how well that works, because it could end up that I have to put a thruster on the bottom of that thing just to counter the weight of the whole thing. I'm not sure yet how I can achieve that. Maybe if the ship is strong enough, it can just do that. But here it was a real problem. Again, I tried to hold the ship in mid-air. It didn't, because this part just pulled it down. That's one thing I would really like to see changed. So I'm not sure if that's ever possible. I made some indents and I'm trying to lighten the structure and take away a bit the feeling of it being just flat. But I really like it. I really like the change that I've done on this. I had to bring back a mod that I got rid of, the MaxPax laser turrets, because I found that there's a small laser turret for for this whole ordeal. And it has the size I would like my laser turrets in, so I could stick it a lot more to the front. Not sure if I should change that, but that would be a possibility. I also have to say a big thank you to the people that sent me comments about the conveyors I wanted to have. So I got a comment about this whole thing. Let me take a look. So one comment was by Schattensonne, and he suggested the conveyor high density adapters, and that is this stuff. So there is different conveyor modules I saw just now, where you can have different. You can see that here that's one with a lot of conveyor modules, and then there's this version that is basically one of the frames that you can set in with some small connections and some big ones. That's exactly what I wanted to have, and I chose this one over the one SnapPixel suggested. SnapPixel suggested Ectosage's industrial cockpits, because it's not only a cockpit, it is also a lot of extra stuff, so conveyors and there's something like that in there too, but this is a bit smaller and I don't have to go with all the extra stuff that's in there. The mod list is big enough, so I don't really want to run with more and more, and at the moment it feels I'm doing. Oh man, someone is mowing its lawn. I maybe have to make a short break and wait for a second. Maybe it's okay. It seems to not show up in the... it doesn't seem to show up in the recording, so I'm hopefully good. What I want to do today is take a look at the container again. It's sorry that I jump from project to project, kind of, but this is something that right now really interests me. I want to kind of work on this a bit more and then see how much force I really need to fly that thing in the atmosphere alone on its own, and then maybe filled at one point. The problem with the filled containers again is that these things may exceed everything that thrusters on small ships can put out. So I have to see how many thrusters I really like for stuff like that, and how the whole issue with it being an extra grid that just hangs below another grid works. I'm not sure, but what I want to kind of finish is the way it is set up, because the whole setup here, man, give me a sec. The whole lawn lowing is kind of really distracting to me. I don't know, maybe you don't really notice that in the recording, but I definitely do, and that's something that I don't really like. Okay, I want to have a final size on the container so that it's easier for me to plan out how this would be structured. And the problem that I see is that I have to be careful with the containers, because the containers are very, very fragile, and I want to pack them into a bit of material to protect them from just exploding on me when I land or something like that. The big problem with that is it makes the whole thing so big that it is in the end maybe not interesting anymore to, yeah, size-wise to be transportable. In the end, it might be interesting to do the whole thing with small grids, but then the transport ship, the one that is moving the containers in the world, might have to be a small grid too, and that's something I don't want to have. It's the whole issue of having no intermittent size blocks makes it so that this even with the half blocks really looks chunkier than I really want to have it. So this is the size I want to go to, the maximum size, height-wise, and maybe even in extent to the sides. But we will have to add some blocks to here, so the whole thing will be a bit longer than I would really like it. I need some merge blocks. You can see that I have put some... The merge blocks are here to have a way to secure the whole thing. With the containers, I really don't give anything about them being renamed or something like that. So that's not an issue for me with the containers. With ships, and you heard me talk about that for ships I'm not a big fan of it. I have a script now that I could use to rename everything constantly, and there's also someone that has put out a mod that fixes this He calls it error, or she calls it error, and I would say the same. So yeah, again, there's a mod out there that fixes this issue. It prevents, I think, the whole thing from renaming, or gives it the old name again, and it also converts stuff like that automatically from basically a station to a ship. If you undock a ship from a station, because you would have to manually go in and say, okay, this is not a station, this is a ship, then rename everything. I might want to bring that in and test that, but for now I'm good right now. So we need some merge blocks here and another merge block here. I need a ship that keeps that thing in place. Let me grab a landing gear. In the last episode, Alex Hudson saw that I had an issue with not with frame rate, but with the resolution of the video. And I can't really tell where that came from, because the raw footage was completely okay. My render software must have locked up there or messed up, and I was a bit frustrated with that. I will have to take a look at that in this episode, so that hopefully there's no problem again with that. Good, this is now locked into place, so I can work on that a bit more. Oh, come on, it's just a small container. The whole grids and all that stuff really start to... Ah, come on, stop that thing. The ships really start to behave wonky when you attach any different grids to them, any masses that don't have any thrusters or gyros on their own. That is something I would really like to get rid of. Okay, we need another merge block here. These will be the merge blocks that would eventually attach the containers to each other and to maybe a bigger transport ship. I will have to make tests again with merge blocks when it comes to how to say, when it comes to merging what blocks they merge with. I realized that it could be that, for example, if I put this block here, that stuff shouldn't merge with it. But sometimes the merge blocks don't really do that. They will merge to a block like this anyways, although they shouldn't. Maybe it's better to not use the full size. We'll go with the half size block here. I could, and thought about that I also could use the scaffold blocks, but I'm not sure how much the scaffold blocks really hold, how crazy they how the durability of the scaffold blocks is. It could be that it's not enough. When one of these blocks break, then the next thing that would break is definitely the container itself, and that wouldn't be too much fun. I might want to connect this. I think I will just put a connection in here to keep that together. So with this, we have a size now for the containers, and we could go in and then build a ship that is able to carry that thing, at least when it comes to how much big the whole thing is. So a vector thrust container ship. Ooh, that that brings completely different issues with it, because the script also could not react well to that. But we will see how that works out. Let me make a short break and start a bit of a backbone to the ship, and then I will come back to you. I know that this whole thing at the moment looks a bit weird, but that's the plan I had. Man, that was typical, I would say. Typical. Energy just runs out when I start to record. Let me just fill that up. And then we take another look. At the moment it is the framework for what I've planned. But you can see that this will be a really big thing, and I'm not sure if that's a good idea at the moment. But so cockpit in the front, then something, and again this form will just vanish. That will not stay the way. It's just at the moment here to give me some measurements. Have a backbone of the whole thing, then something that clamps it in place, a connector, and I thought maybe some landing gears here that just can clamp onto the surface of the container. And then in the back maybe some drives, maybe some more power. We will see how much power we need, because I'm not sure if these two reactors will be even enough to power thrusters that would be needed to move this thing and to bring it into an atmosphere. So the idea is to have the thrusters sit here, so outward. I want to bring that a bit more outward. Have them somewhere here on the height of the ship, and I'm not sure if they should be maybe a bit more to the back, a bit more to the front, or if I want to keep them here, to keep them relatively close to the heaviest parts of the container in the end. Maybe I bring them a bit more forward, a bit more backward, just to don't know, to get rid of the crazy narrow framework that we have right now. So how much do we have to go outward? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think we're close to the edge here. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think I will go that much outward. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. Then down, and again have the thrusters somewhere in that region. And we have to find a good way to build in landing gears. That will be the next thing, because we will have to go down a lot more to have some landing gears close to the bottom of the container, so that the container might drop a bit if we let it go, but a small drop is hopefully not so problematic. This is a crazy build, I have the feeling. It might end up not working, but then I don't know. We have a small ship that can drop other things onto the surface, rovers or whatsoever. The whole thing I might bring the whole thing down. So this is not the height. I want to kind of have the height somewhere here, stop here, close above the container, and then maybe I slope it downward. Have a bit of a slope here, and maybe here too, so that it kind of looks like something that is draped over the container. We don't know. We might call it starfish in the end or something like that. No, I'm not sure. But that's the idea I have for that. So I will go into this and build a bit more. Maybe we can stick some thrusters on there and see how crazy it would be in the end. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let me do some more work. You can see that I have done a bit more work, and I hope it starts to look like something. So here you can see that I have brought in some pistons to replace these long parts here. That's something I kind of want to deal with, because this is still too crazy for me. But just putting it on rotors might not be enough to keep the weight in check and all that stuff. I'm not sure if that works. For now, I will go with the pistons to at least bring the bottom part a bit up, so it doesn't look so spindly like this here. And I have to kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One below that, we can cut that off. I have to continue that here. And you have already seen that I have put in the rotors with some thrusters on it. So at least we are able to take a look if the thing moves at all. So that's something we can do. And now I kind of see that I miss something when it comes to this base. So this base doesn't have a landing pad for ships like these. I'm not sure if it really needs one. So there's only a few vector thrust ships up here that will move from orbit to planet. So maybe these can have, don't know, just connectors and connect up to the station. But not sure. I will have to think about that, because this thing definitely looks like something that should land on a landing pad somewhere. But this station doesn't lend itself to having stuff like that. It would also require to have, don't know, artificial gravity, and then have this thing to have mass blocks somewhere, and to be able to land there. Maybe I will put a dedicated docking port for this thing somewhere and just have it dock up there. And the main fleet of vector thrust ships will, I think, stay just around the planet and or on the planet, and will work there. Good. Let us fire up this thing, and I want to change this also, and then we fire up this thing and see if it moves. If it at least moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Below that, cut it off. Bring in the piston. Let me get rid of this. Okay. The cockpit still looks a bit weird. It just hangs there. That's not something I want to have. So I'm bringing that in. The top side I have to model a bit to give it more of a structural feeling. So right now you can see it looks all very spindly and thin, and that's, I'm not sure, that's not a good look. That's not something I want to have. Okay, why are you thrusting? Oh, okay. I will have to clear that up if that's something that the container does. Let us change maybe the connector on here, okay? This is the main connector. And then we... I need the other ship to pick that thing up. We will test the ship without the connector beneath if the thrusters behave well then. Because now you can see if I go up, it goes up, but if I go to the side, for example, now I'm pressing D to move straight to the side, it doesn't. So, and the front thrusters also don't do what they are supposed to do. It could be that the whole mass of the ship and the whole center of mass, having it somewhere, yeah, somewhere for the ship, somewhere, don't know, maybe here, and having the container below it, having the center of mass somewhere here, that could throw the whole thing off. Not sure, but that might be the case. Let us secure the container a bit. And then when we... Oh, come on. This ship is just too twitchy. Just want to have something that is able to lock to the container and secure it. Why is this thing so twitchy? I'm not sure. Maybe it's because it's not very big and the... Okay, come on. Okay, that is locked, so now we can unlock the ship from the container. And have maybe the connector switch the lock here. No, then see, now it seems to behave. No, it doesn't. Oh, okay. Could be a center of mass issue. Could be an issue with the center of mass. Maybe because the thrusters are pushed so far below the center of mass of this thing that it then misbehaves. Not good. Not really good. Can we see the center of mass? It doesn't show that to us right now. Maybe it's somewhere up there and we can't see it. Or we need an antenna on here. That could also be a thing. Okay, there. If I'm outside, I can see it. Yeah, see, the center of mass is somewhere up there. And that could be problematic. I'm not sure. I will contact the best source, I think, for that, and we'll see how if I can resolve that or if that's not possible. Vermilion 1WSX10 told me that I should put back in the strength mod for the rotors. Maybe that helps, but I'm not sure. It could be just an issue with that this doesn't really work out. If I can solve that by bringing up the rotors, then it will be that. But then I run again into the problem of the spindly legs. So not sure about that. Or another thruster pair? I don't know. I will take a look how to maybe solve that. This thing can stay here for now. It hopefully doesn't fly off. I will put the script into standby and then this should keep it in place. The container is also kept in place by the other ship, so at least I have some sizes now for the thing, so that is good. I know now that this would be able to hold the thing at least. If it can handle it in atmosphere, I'm not sure. So that will be a big question. The next plans are to work more on this, but I will do that in the time in between episodes. I want to work on the interior of the Empress and also on the interior of the station to make it more habitable. And then we need to weaponize the Big Blue again, so we can take it out if we want. And then I want to go back to the planet. That's one thing we definitely need to do too. Build some more vector thrust vehicles on the planet. I had to get rid of the miner too, the vector thrust miner, so that's something I want to bring back. And having transport vehicles on the ground would be nice too. Some maybe scout vector thrusts. I'm not sure. That's all just ideas I'm throwing around. But I think it's all for today. Let me know what to do about the lasers. I have too many lasers in now. Should I just remove this laser mod and say it's not worth for having all these lasers in for just that thing? That is not, don't know, the idea is cool. The laser itself, I'm not sure. And I may be able to use the smaller lasers too as don't know. The max packs ones look a bit nicer, I have to admit that. But they don't have this point defense laser. It would be nice if there would be just the point defense laser, but that's sadly not always possible. I want to test this wind turbine out. That's one thing I found. That's a big 5x5x9 wind turbine for big blocks, for station blocks. So I want to bring that onto the planet and test it out. Maybe we can make some builds on the planet, on the Earth-like planet with that. We have to do so much more. Seth Everson wants me to fire this Atlas super laser again at an asteroid. He's really adamant about that, so that might happen in the next week too. And I have to clean up the mod list. I'm not sure. I have all these passage blocks. I don't use them a lot, and I'm not too sure what to do about that. Other things. It's so... I kind of want to get rid of all these deco blocks and stay in just the style of the normal or the DLC pack to kind of clean up the world. But the problem is then I would also lose the pipes, and I don't want to lose the pipes. I'm so stressed out by all of this, playing the game, and no, I'm not, but I kind of want to clean that up. I yesterday had a bit of a, I don't know if I already told you that, but I had a bit of a mishap in the world because suddenly the game told me I don't have enough RAM to save my world, and that stuff I don't want to have happen again. So it must have been an issue because I ran Chrome next to it, and Chrome and Space Engineers don't work out too well with each other. So I hope by not running Chrome at the moment that is fixed. I could at least clean up all the toilet stalls, but the toilet stalls are smaller than the normal toilets. I'm not sure. Maybe I just keep them and roll with the punches that all these mods bring to me. We will have to see. Good people, I think that's all for today. Thanks for watching, I would say. Hope you liked the episode. If you did, then please leave a like on it. And I hope to see you in the next one. See ya, guys.